Have you ever looked at your blood sugar or your A1C and thought, what am I doing wrong? Because you're trying, you cut back on sugar, you've been trying to eat better, maybe you've started walking after meals, maybe you've lost a few pounds, maybe you're skipping desserts, maybe you're avoiding soda, and yet your blood sugar is still high. Your fasting glucose is still elevated. Your A1C has barely changed. And that's frustrating because it feels like your body isn't cooperating. Maybe you're also noticing cravings that won't go away, fatigue after meals, brain fog, weight around your middle that doesn't want to budge, getting hungry again an hour or two after eating, energy crashes in the afternoon, waking up hungry, feeling shaky if you go too long without food, or feeling like you have to snack just to keep your energy stable. And the harder you try, the more confused you become. So what's actually happening? Why does blood sugar stay high even when you're trying to do everything right? I'm Dr. Matt Mason, chiropractor, acupuncturist, and functional medicine practitioner. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that blood sugar is only about sugar, because sometimes the reason your blood sugar won't go down has very little to do with the sugar bowl on your kitchen table. Sometimes the real issue is that your body has become less responsive to the hormone that moves sugar out of the blood. And if you miss that, you could spend years cutting sugar, but never addressing why your body struggles to handle sugar in the first place. Let's start with something most people never hear. High blood sugar is not always a sugar problem. Many times it's an insulin problem. Think of insulin as a key. Its job is to unlock the cell and allow sugar to move inside. When that system works properly, blood sugar goes down. But when cells become resistant to insulin, it's like the lock has become rusty. The key is still there, but it doesn't work as well as it used to. So sugar stays trapped in the bloodstream longer, and over time, the body often responds by making even more insulin. And this is why many people have high insulin for years before blood sugar becomes dramatically elevated. And this is also why some people say, my blood sugar isn't terrible, but I can tell something is off. Because the body may be compensating. It may be working harder than it should just to keep the numbers from getting worse. And here's where things get confusing. Many people don't feel high blood pressure. What they feel are the symptoms that come with poor blood sugar control. Fatigue after meals, brain fog, afternoon crashes, cravings, weight gain around the middle, difficulty losing weight, feeling hungry again not long after eating, getting sleepy after a high-carb meal, needing something sweet after dinner, feeling irritable when meals are delayed, or feeling like your energy is controlled by food. Sometimes people tell me, Dr. Mason, I don't even eat that much. And I believe them, because quantity isn't always the problem. Sometimes the issue is that the body has become less efficient at handling what is being eaten. Now here's another hidden cause: stress. Most people don't realize that stress hormones can raise blood sugar. Think about it. Your body doesn't know the difference between an angry email, a financial problem, a lack of sleep, or a bear chasing you through the woods. Stress is stress. And one of the ways the body responds is by releasing stored energy. That means sugar entering the bloodstream. That can be helpful if you're in danger. But if stress is constant, your blood sugar system keeps getting the signal to stay ready. This is why some people can improve their diet yet still struggle with blood sugar numbers. Because food is not the only signal affecting blood sugar. Now here's another mistake. People focus entirely on fasting blood sugar, but they ignore what happens all day long. Because blood sugar doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's influenced by sleep, stress, activity, muscle mass, meal timing, food choices, and recovery. That's why two people can eat the exact same meal and get completely different blood sugar responses. Same food, different body response. That's the part most people miss. Now here's a question. Have you ever noticed that your cravings get worse when you're tired or stressed or after a poor night of sleep? That's not always a lack of willpower. It's physiology. Because poor sleep and chronic stress often make blood sugar control more difficult. This is one reason many people feel trapped. They blame themselves, when in reality, their biology may be working against them. Now let's talk about what to do. If your blood sugar won't go down, don't just ask, what foods should I avoid? That's not a bad question, but it's not the only question. Also ask, what is keeping my body from responding properly? Look at your sleep. Look at your stress. Look at your activity. Look at your muscle mass. Look at your meal timing. Look at your recovery. Look at late night eating. Look at how often you're eating refined carbs without enough protein or fiber. Look at whether you're moving after meals or sitting for hours after eating. And for some people, certain nutrients can also be another piece of the puzzle. Not because supplements replace healthy habits, they don't, but because certain nutrients can help support the same system we're talking about in this video. For example, berberine is one nutrient I often think about when someone is trying to support healthy blood sugar regulation, insulin sensitivity, and metabolic health. Berberine is not a magic pill, but it can be a very helpful tool, especially when blood sugar, cravings, and insulin resistance are part of the picture. Another nutrient that fits this conversation is alpha lipoic acid. ALA helps support antioxidant status, cellular energy production, and healthy glucose metabolism. This matters because blood sugar problems are not just about sugar floating in the blood. They're also about how well your cells can use that fuel. R-lipoic acid is another form often used for metabolic support because it helps support healthy carbohydrate metabolism and cellular energy production. Then there's chromium. Chromium is a trace mineral that plays a role in normal insulin function and glucose metabolism. This is why chromium is often considered when someone is dealing with blood sugar swings, carb cravings, or difficulty staying stable between meals. Taurine is another nutrient worth mentioning. Taurine can help support metabolic health, cellular function, and a healthy response to insulin. Carnosine is another one. Carnosine helps support healthy aging, antioxidant defenses, and the way the body handles metabolic stress. And then there are nutrients like vanadium, zinc, and manganese. These aren't flashy nutrients, but they can play supporting roles in glucose metabolism, enzyme function, and overall metabolic health. The key is supplements are not the foundation. They are support. The foundation is still sleep, movement, stress management, protein, muscle mass, meal timing, and better food choices. Those are still the biggest rocks. But when the foundation is being addressed, nutrients like berberine, alpha lipoic acid, chromium, magnesium, cinnamon may help support the body's blood sugar response. Because blood sugar control is rarely about one food. It's usually about the entire environment your body is operating in. One of the best ways to think about this is like a bucket. Most people focus on the water being poured into the bucket, the sugar, the carbohydrates, the food, but they ignore the size of the bucket. Sleep helps make the bucket bigger. Muscle helps make the bucket bigger. Movement helps make the bucket bigger. Stress management helps make the bucket bigger. Recovery helps make the bucket bigger. The larger the bucket, the easier it becomes to handle what goes into it. And this is why walking after meals can be so powerful. You're not just burning calories, you're giving your muscles a reason to pull sugar out of the bloodstream. This is a simple example of improving the body's response. Before we finish, I want you to remember this. If your blood sugar won't go down, that doesn't automatically mean you're failing. It may mean you're focusing on one piece of the puzzle, while several others are being overlooked. Because blood sugar is rarely just about sugar. It's often about stress, sleep, recovery, insulin resistance, inflammation, meal timing, muscle movement, nutrient support, and overall environment your body is trying to function in. Comment below, have you struggled more with cravings, weight loss, high fasting glucose, or elevated A1C? I'd be interested to hear your experience. I'll see you in the next video.